Welcome to a world of thrills, a world of drama, of capes and tights, a world where death is a revolving door. Welcome to the Geek Matrix.
Just say Geek Matrix?
Say his name and he appears. I believe in
Geek Matrix.
Oh, God damn it. As I was about to say,
3 syllables.
you just heard me say it on the intro song. Welcome to the Geek Matrix DC Comics Review Show, episode number. I forgot to look it up, but I'm going to say
206.
I was just about to say it's 206.
Yeah, oh, my bad.
Damn it, Josh. Always stepping on my lines. Shit.
I'd do that, but it's only because I don't look down. It's a bad habit. I try.
Oh, yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. I get it. Bringing back the fucking dad jokes.
Yes.
What a guy. Anyway, we are here. You heard me. My name is Rob. You heard him. His name is Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh. And you haven't heard him yet, but he is here. It's Brandon.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
It's going.
How was the trip back home?
Long, but it's over now. So
Yeah.
That's one way to put it, right?
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're here to talk comics, shop, and all sorts of other business that may or may not interest us. And we have a lot of comics to talk about this week. We have 5 books ahead of us, including Batman and Robin number 11, GreenLantern number 13, Action Comics number 1067, Outsiders number 9, and Absolute Power. I'm calling it TaskForceVII number 1. I don't know if anybody else calling something different. TaskForceVII just makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, Task Force VII sure don't.
No,
Yeah,
that's we're getting a little ancient if we call it that. Dreamer's not in the book anymore. There's no sound way. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I was going to say seeing it. She sees into the future, not the past.
Yeah. Premonition.
Yeah. Wrong type of time travel. Silly Rob.
Silly.
Time
Rob.
travels for experts. I am assuredly not an expert in time travel. In fact, I fucking hate time travel because it hurts my
Time
brain.
travels for doctors.
I don't even know about that. We could get into the whole ramifications of medical doctors being time travelers, but that's a whole episode we ain't got time for right now.
No, I meant telephone booth doctors.
Oh. I'm a little slow today.
Sunday.
Slow on the uptake. So, boys, got any news, anything interesting going on in your lives?
Not a whole bunch right now on my home front.
No.
Yeah, no, I can't. As always, I can't really think of anything.
Just got back from his family vacation. How are you not like in a perpetual state of exhaustion, Brandon?
I usually am. You know, I mean, you just kind of cope with it the best you can.
That's Brandon is it's like Hulk. My secret is that I'm always tired.
That's my secret,
it's
Cat.
not even a secret. It's, I mean, I'm looking at my face and I'm like, geez, I didn't know I had that many lines under my eyes. But yeah, no, it's well, at least, yeah, like I said, at least it's over. So
Yeah, you can relax a wee bit before you move.
yeah, that'll be nice.
I said that the other day. I was looking pretty ragged, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't have bags under my eyes. I got a full set of luggage." Yep, it's not just you guys that have to suffer through the dad jokes.
Yeah.
I guess now that I think about it, there's one thing. a surprise recommendation for me. But I read X-Men #1 on Monday, I think it was. And I was pretty surprised, honestly. It was, I don't want to say it was great, but it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. So much so that I was pretty excited to see what the rest of the series has in store.
Yeah, it's on my list to check out as well. I've only
Yeah.
It's Jed McKay is writing it, right?
Yeah, Jed McKay with art by Ryan Stegman, which is an interesting
It's not
team.
bad at all. Yeah, it's quite a good team. Myself.
Yeah, and I think the thing that was like the most interesting to me was just the approach, because the big question that's been on everyone's minds is, how do you follow up Krakoa, which was such a big and all-expansive initiative, and Jed McKay, to my absolute surprise, said, "Why not do new X-Men, like Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley's new X-Men?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, why not?" Yeah. It's a very strange way to go, but honestly, different than what I was expecting, and actually kind of refreshing. That it wasn't just straight back to, the Mansion and Cerebro and all that stuff. Like they were at least trying to push it forward a little bit, but put their own twist on it. So I would definitely recommend it for anyone who's a little wary about the new titles coming out.
Right on. Sorry, every time I think I hear new X-Men, I just think about all the crazy shit that happened during that run.
Yeah.
Astonishing following it, and I always end up going back to that time Kitty phased a giant planet-sized bullet through the Earth.
What a time!
And then got lost for 3 years.
Yeah.
Through this bullet.
So and then lost her voice. But yeah, that was quite a stellar run of books for a little bit there to follow new X-Men with Astonishing X-Men, which was kind of like, I mean, despite that book basically being just the back to basics approach, it was executed very well. Still holds up. Executed. I wasn't trying to be funny there, but
accidental humor is the best humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah.
Do we know when Gail Simone's Uncanny is coming out? I thought it was already supposed to be out.
If not next week, then sometime before the month is over. I don't know the exact date, but I know both books start like this month. So
I thought they were both supposed to come out in June. I don't know where. I got that yet.
Yeah, no, because they were still kind of wrapping up stuff. So I think with the Krakoa stuff anyway. So I think there was still stuff they needed to deal with before they could transition to the from the Ashes initiative, which is the next X initiative that they're in right now.
Right. And we also had a book return this week, which I haven't read yet. And I know when I talked to you about it, Brandon, I know you said you hadn't read it yet either. Wow, what the hell's it called?
Public Domain.
Public Domain, thank you. Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain is back with issue 6 after, what is it, 2-year hiatus?
Was it 2 years? Really? Wow.
When I was looking up, I think the book launched in 2022, so maybe like a year and a half.
Well, I remember it was running on Substack as an exclusive for a little while and then made the transition towards Image, but I swear that was like a year ago. I could be wrong, though.
Maybe. I don't remember, to be honest. I just know it's been a long-ass time.
Yeah.
Complete with a sister title, which I also forget the name of it.
Yeah, you're not totally off.
Domain. I think it's just called Domain. The Domain.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and Public Domain number 5 came out October 19th, 2022. So almost 2 years exactly. So it has definitely been a while.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if only we can get. Oh my god, I'm tired, boys. I'm blanking on names. I should just stop trying. Oh my god.
Are you thinking of crossover?
Yeah. only we can get him back up to basics.
Donny Cates.
Yeah.
Donny Cates, thank you. Shit. It's been a long week. Yeah, if only we can get Donny Cates back up to 100% and back on crossover, we can get all our great indie books back.
Yeah, no, it's been definitely over 2 years since the last issue of that series came out.
Yeah. I mean,
I just hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, that's ultimately what matters, as long as he's doing okay. If he never gets back into comics, that's understandable. At least he has his life, you know. At least he's able to live. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Right? Be a damn shame, but I just wonder what. I think last I heard, he's doing some script writing.
I'm not actually sure. The last thing I heard of
cool.
him was the the unfortunate accident and the memory loss, but I don't know that he's been doing anything since then. I know he was credited as providing the idea for Ultimate Invasion, but beyond that, I don't know what else he's done, at least related to comics.
I mean, after the memory loss, like it'd be pretty wild for him to just jump back onto one of the books he'd spent a year creating, right?
Yeah.
Hell, over a year. I'm sure. I just say a year because I think it went to 12 issues and then it had to stop.
Yeah, 12 or 13, I think it was.
Yeah, and a book like that's gonna have a lot of creative ideas, a lot of creative thought, and to just lose all that at once, like that's gonna be. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a project he does not get back to.
Yeah, it will be unfortunate because I think it was gearing up for its final arc, or at least it felt that way.
Yeah.
And then, it just kind of it stopped because of a series of other things. But yeah, it was a really just a victim of unfortunate timing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite unfortunate. The only other thing I got is part of the rumor mill. We have more rumors popping up about the supposed DC Comics Absolute line. Chances are we're going to get actual info on whether or not this is real at San Diego Comic-Con. But there is also an image floating around of an ashcan copy cover of Absolute Batman #1. So it's looking a lot more realistic that this is the reality. Yeah. So a couple weeks, we will find out a lot more info about exactly what this is, if it's real, what's happening, who the creative teams are, what books are going to be affected, what this is all about, and I'm excited. But we'll see.
I'm definitely hoping I get to be.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, this is that event. It's like, isn't it Snyder spearheading this?
He's, from what I understand, he's doing Absolute Batman, but it's not even really just an event. It's
like a whole nother,
like a secondary
line
continuity. Yeah. Which I'll be honest, I don't know if DC needs that right now. It seems a little much with where we are right now, because they don't really even have their main continuity under control, I'd say.
Well, hopefully this is a step towards that.
I'll be honest, I don't really remember what the state of Marvel was at the time when Ultimate launched, but they started slow. They had one book, and then they had 2 books, and then they had 3 books.
Well, you have to put it in context. I don't think
they ever made it over 4 books, right?
Yeah, you have to put that line in context, because that was coming out 4 years after Marvel declared bankruptcy, right? So, I mean, there's a whole. I'm probably not the right person to break down the history, but basically the gist of it is Marvel declares bankruptcy in '96, spends the next 2 years trying to recoup, and then they bring in Joe Quesada to do Marvel Knights, which gets a lot of attention, brings in a decent influx of cash, and then gives them the capital to start the new Ultimate line, which then, basically revitalizes Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
And that's 2000, where the first Marvel Ultimate book is launched. It's, I think Ultimate Spider-Man, shortly followed by Ultimate X-Men, which was either 2001 or 2002. I can't remember exactly.
I think it was 2001 because it wasn't too far behind in terms of issue count.
No.
And then I'm struggling to remember if it was Ultimate Team Up or Ultimates that came out next.
Probably
I think it was Ultimate Team Up.
Yeah, because Ultimates I don't think was until 2002.
Yeah.
And that was it had to have been because that directly builds out of all things Ultimate Team Up, the issue where Hulk debuts.
See, I'm gonna call shenanigans on it because I think when they did Ultimate Team Up, and I remember because I was an avid reader of Ultimate Team Up, I was like, I never got to live with the Team Up book, Marvel Team Up, so I'm gonna be able to live with this one, and I'm gonna like it, and I liked it, but it was contradicted by everything that came after it. you had a green and purple Hulk, very reminiscent of 616 Hulk, in I want to say it was the very first issue of Ultimate Team Up. Right? Which I think was Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Mm.
And even the Wolverine in that was a lot nicer than the Wolverine that was in Ultimate X-Men. And
that's
Hulk
weird,
was
I vaguely remember him being
monster.
Yeah, I vaguely remember him being gray in Ultimate Team Up, but I do remember there was kind of a weird shift in personality for some of the characters.
I have to go back and look. I could have sworn he was green.
Mm.
But I will say the Ultimate Fantastic Four debuted in Ultimate Team Up. And that is 100% completely different from the Fantastic Four we got later on.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. It was green. I don't know why I thought that.
It was a wild book, but I just wish it fit better. Yeah. What can you do? That was over 20 years ago now, so who cares?
Yeah.
Fuck. As a great band once said, the years start coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah, sorry to make you feel your age a little bit there.
It's a daily basis thing for me, don't worry. I hang out at work with a kid that's 10 years younger than me. You're the least of my concerns.
I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Not as bad as you'd think, because he talks to everybody, even the older guys, but it's every so often I'm like, hey, you remember this? He's like, I have no idea what that is. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm older than you.
That shit happens with me and Holly all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really, it's like, oh my God. Especially when it comes to shit like movies or TV and music, that kind of stuff makes me feel super old.
Yeah. I hope I don't make you feel.
It's just weird to think of her being 10 years younger than me.
Yeah, I get that. But I was gonna say, I hope I don't make you feel too old sometimes, because even though I was born in 1990, I know a lot about the decades that came before me. I've consumed a lot of 80s movies, and I love them.
No, honestly, the worst offender is Isaiah.
Isaiah makes me feel old, and he's only 3 years younger than me. Wait, how old is he?
Is he? I thought Isaiah was closer to my age.
I might be closer to your age. I forget I'm 34, and I keep thinking I'm 31.
He just finished his bachelor's in film, so he's got to be at least 22.
Yeah, no, so he's around my age, because I remember the last time we talked, he was like, we were maybe same. I would say same grade as though we're in high school, but around the same year in college. So if he just finished, we're probably around the same age. I might be a year older than him because I'm a little old for my class.
What were we talking about the other day? Maybe it might have just been yesterday when we were talking about something that happened. It was a thing when we were in high school. Josh, do you remember? I think you were part of that chat.
Oh, God. I know. No, of course I don't remember. Absolutely not.
Something that happened in 2010, and then he said it was a thing when he was in high school.
Oh, when y'all were talking about I don't know, bronies or furries or some shit
Oh
like that. It
God.
was
Oh
That was that was like
Bronies
2011,
were a thing.
2012.
Bronies were a thing, which
Oh
is
my
kind of
God.
weird because I could have sworn bronies were a concept when I was in high school, but I graduated in 2009. But yeah, I remember it dawned with the I think it was called Friendship is Magic or something like that, and that came
Yeah,
out in
yeah,
2010. So I looked it up after Isaiah and I were talking about it. I'm like, I could have sworn it was when I was in high school, but apparently it was after.
No, yeah, this is like early 2010s, and I remember this because I was probably like just about to start middle school,
Okay,
which
so
yeah, we'll
he is
show how
definitely
young
older.
I am, basically. But
He's
yeah,
between our ages then. I think
Okay.
he said he's like 27, 28.
okay, yeah, then yeah,
Yeah.
he's right in the middle of us.
Yeah. Which that makes me feel like he's only a couple years younger because I think I'm 30 still. I'm going to continue thinking I'm 30 until I turn 39. And then I'm going to realize 40s are around the corner. Yeah.
So, is anybody going to help me develop my video game?
I know nothing about game development.
Damn it.
I would. Kirk would be your best option.
Yeah, Kirk is too busy for himself.
Yeah. Brandon, how much do you know about game development?
Oh, not a lick.
Okay.
Not a lick.
Yeah, it looks like
do-
I'm out of luck there.
I do know a guy I went to high school with. He ended up going into game development. I haven't talked to him in like 7, 8 years, maybe more. But I could still contact him and see if he's interested. I don't know what he's doing these days.
Hell yeah. Look it up.
He made a game that ended up on the Xbox 360. What was it called? Marketplace?
Yeah.
Like for indie developers. And I bought it. It was good.
My
So-
kid is I bought Liam for his birthday. I bought him that G Develop. It's a game programming thing for it's simple pixelated games, but you can make RPGs, you can make platformers, whatever you want. And he's making it's like a Metroidvania game.
Oh hell yeah.
And all of your you can jump farther, you can shoot out poison clouds, you get stronger when you pick up these little bean power-ups, and it's called it's a platformer.
Right.
And with all of those descriptions of things I just put into your mind, the name for it is Fartformer.
When you said poison clouds, that was my first thought. It's like Barney from The Simpsons.
Kind of, yeah.
Because I only ever think of that
very combat heavy.
because back on PlayStation, I had a game called The Simpsons Wrestling, which Josh, we need to find and we need to play because it was very fun. And Barney's main attack was he would burp, and a cloud of beer gas would just form around him, and it would hurt you every time you got close to him.
Excellent.
And it would stay in the ring for like 20 seconds.
That's excellent. I told him if he completely finishes the game in this, which is a lot of simple commands and drag and drop, I told him I would pay for him to learn either Unity or Unreal 5.
Oh hell yeah.
I will too.
I would say like start with Unity and then go to Unreal 5, because Unity it's a little older, so it might be easier to pick up, but at the same time it might be better just to jump straight to Unreal 5. If you can, if you can hack it, go for it.
He's already becoming curious about PowerShell and shit, so I'm gonna let him try Unreal 5, but he's got to finish this game first.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this shit is that it will develop it for any kind of platform. That's where this isn't a paid advertisement, but you can release it and as a paid app, like you're free to use whatever you get inside the program to make whatever you want and then release it and make money for it. And you don't have to pay the people a damn thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's called G Develop, and I think that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Yep. I got that through Humble Bumble. Again, I promise this is not a commercial.
Oh, I might check that out too.
I figure we ought to probably get rolling on a little bit of comic books. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just going to mention a few first, and then we'll head off to commercial real quick. Primer Clashing Colors #1 came out. The Teen Titans show up, as does Deathstroke, and a new take on Ravager. It was pretty good, man. It was. Batman 89 Echoes #3. This is awesome. And Rob, you are missing out. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age #2. This is awesome. And you're both missing out. It's super awesome, man.
I want to reread Gotham by Gaslight before I get to this. I haven't read it in like 20 years.
Wow. All right. Well, and then from the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives #1. It is exactly what it sounds like. No mystery there. And finally, Sinister Sons #6. Rob?
Surprise last issue. I could have sworn there were solicits for more, but I guess I was wrong. This is the last issue of the series. Very good. I would say very interesting. Starts off slow, but if you enjoyed Tomasi's Super Sons, you will enjoy Sinister Sons, and they will return in various other books, such as Kneel Before Zod and Green Lantern going forward. So they are not gone for good. This is all tying together. This whole thing with Zod and Sinestro and the United Planets Corps. There's something brewing here, and I have a feeling Philip Kennedy Johnson is a part of it. And the fact that Tomasi is a part of it, I'm so fucking stoked. They are building their cosmic universe. I'm so happy. Yes.
They are building a massive universal universe.
Yes.
Everything is tying into what's about to come. Just about every book we cover. I think actually every book we cover. What books did we cover
this week?
All books but one deal with what's moving forward. Or I guess 2. Never mind. 3 out of 5.
I mean, 2 really. Are you talking about Absolute Power?
Yeah, and beyond. But anyway, we'll get to that. And I think I'll mark us down for a commercial real quick.
Hell yeah.
And we're back. Did you miss us?
Yeah.
Now, back to our program.
Cool.
Hell yeah. All right, so we're here. May as well get started. First off, Batman and Robin #11, start of a new arc. Brandon, if you want to fill us in on the goings on. Brandon?
Are you there, Brandon?
Brandon.
Oh, we have a message.
Brandon. Sorry, every time there's silence, I just want to do the whole like Solid Snake thing. Snake? Snake? Snake!
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
He had to step out and had to take a phone call.
So I will get started with Green Lantern since I already have it ready to go.
Sounds excellent. Let's go ahead and pop that over there. We'll come back to Batman and Robin later.
Yeah. So we're kicking off with our first Absolute Power tie-in. I mean,
ish.
There was one last week, wasn't there? Was it Batman 150? I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Ish.
So second of the run, but first of the week. This is Green Lantern #13, written by Jeremy Adams with pencils from Fernando Pasarin, inks from Auclair Albert, and colors from Romulo Fajardo Jr. with letters from Dave Sharp, and that beautiful cover in front of you from Ariel Calon. I guess I said that right. which I can't wait to pick up this issue because this cover is freaking gorgeous.
Oh my God, you are not kidding me.
Yeah, and it is very much reminiscent of what we're going to see inside the issue because it jumps around a bit. So we pick up in the island nation of Gamora on Earth, where Hal has been captured by the Bureau of Sovereignty, more specifically Amanda Waller. And I've been back and forth about which this character specifically is. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Shark, like the Shark, not King Shark.
Am I mistaken, or do they not say his name? I'm not flipping along here with you, but I will check real quick.
They do say Karshawn, but I wasn't sure, and I'm pretty sure that's the Shark.
Is it?
I meant to look it up.
You might be right.
But this looks closer to King Shark than it looks like the Shark. I could be very wrong. Karshawn, Prime Earth, appearing in Green Lantern Volume 2.
Yeah, he's the Shark.
The Shark, yeah.
It's just
so this is what he looks like in
completely different.
The modern universe. Okay.
I guess so.
Yeah, because back in the day, he had pale skin. He was a little more humanoid.
Trippy looking.
Didn't look like an actual fucking shark. He looked like this. I don't know if that pops up on the screen, but he looked like this. He looked like an alien, not a fucking shark.
Yeah.
So
he's a goddamn mutant.
Yeah. So whatever.
Whatever.
Anyway, Karshawn now looking like King Shark. Again, whatever. Has Hal captured and I was going to say tied up. They're strapped to a wall with energy shackles, but it is an alien technology, which Hal figures out that this was provided by Tharos. So he figures that Tharos and Amanda Waller are in cahoots. The whole deal with these energy shackles is that they cause an immense amount of pain, and that the more that the person strapped down tries to struggle, the more pain it will cause them. And
it's like
also,
a choke collar.
Yeah, and also, wow. Sorry, my mind went to a different corner when you said that. I thought you were doing something a little different. But also, the pain can be amplified manually. Yes, Josh. So Amanda wants all the info Hal can give her about basically anything, as much info as they can get out of him, like about his ring, about what's going on, about the Green Lanterns and what's going on out in space. She just wants info. But speaking of in space, we jump over to Oa, where Jessica Cruz is on her way through Oa, through the tunnels, and finds the rebel base as they have since had to move. Salak greets her and says, "You should not be here because they can find you," but she's warning everybody that it might be a little too late. It's very dangerous and they're on high alert. But over to the side, we hear Kyle once again talking about the spectrum, and finally saying, "You control the emotional spectrum, you control the universe," as we see his regular suit covered in all sorts of colors. Basically, the entire emotional spectrum all at once. This motherfucker is becoming a White Lantern again. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's happening.
Right now, he's looking like a 3-day tequila bender followed by an all-you-can-eat chimichanga event. And like that may have been a bad idea, but he looks pretty fucking cool doing it.
He does.
He just looks rough.
Yep. So we then jump over to Sinestro, who we previously saw in Sinister Sons, but right now he's dealing with the rage energy inside of him, and realizing how he's able to harness it. And he wants to go straight to a source for whoever took his yellow lantern, the power battery, central power battery. Give me it back. They said I'll be right back. So he's heading off into space as we see a text box to see more of what Sinestro has been up to. Catch Sinister Sons number 6 and Kneel Before Zod number 7. As Kneel Before Zod number 7 ended, Sinestro showed up to talk to Zod, so I imagine that would be his next stop. Over in Battery Park on Earth, the Justice Society are dealing with one of the Amazos, one of Amanda Waller's Amazos, plus various troops from her army. And they're having a hell of a time. Alan Scott is there doing what he can, what he can to help quell the tide. Jessie Quick tries to get in fast and put in some quick punches, but she gets caught by the Amazo. Her power gets sapped. And this Amazo and now has super speed, taking out most of the JSA in one go. Alan is able to, even though his green Starheart energy was sapped, he's able to control it and get it back. He tells Stargirl to run. Hourman and Stargirl and Green Lantern disappear while the rest of the JSA are now captured. So they escaped for now. Over in Las Vegas, we meet a new character named Nathan Allen Room. That last name, if you know Green Lantern, you know history, you'll recognize that last name. This is a man who seemingly lost his newlywed wife as he's sitting on a bed in a hotel room. I can only assume it's a honeymoon suite, all alone, talking about how his entire life he did what he was told and did everything he needed to do to get a good job, have a good life, met a girl, got married, but then she disappeared in a flash of color and he was left with nothing but a deep sadness, nothing but sorrow. And this is when we see a ring, which potentially engagement ring, wedding ring, not sure, but it begins to smoke, and then he gets up and becomes what we can only call for now a Gray Lantern, complete with its own symbol in the form of a teardrop, which would be powered by sorrow. So that's interesting. We then head back to Oa, where we get a run-in with Tharos, who is basically monologuing about everything he wants, blah, blah, blah. He has the emotional spectrum, his history, and yada, yada. He's fucking annoying. And then,
annoying.
If the rest of the issue would load for me, if I remember it, we head back to Hal, who is being tortured by King Shark. Not King Shark. Karshawn, the shark. Gets the shark to get in a little close, pretends to mumble, and as the shark gets in close to hear him, headbutts him really hard up the jaw, knocks him out, and then uses his own self-willpower to basically break the energy shackles, take all the pain therein, escape, attach the shark to him, and then run like hell through the base, trying to find a way out and find his ring. And while he does find his ring, he comes across that ring in a glass box carried by a soldier in a room full of soldiers, full of glass cases, full of equipment, tech, and items and weapons. And that room also carries an entire fucking army with tanks, gunships, and all sorts of stuff.
The whole shebang, man.
Yeah, that's the end of the issue. Next is Heist. Shall I get into the quick backup?
I mean, the backup is like one fucking sentence. But...
Yeah, it's a history of Tharos. It's written by Mark Guggenheim with art by Matthew Clark, colors from Matt Herms, and letters from Dave Sharp. You get a brief history on Tharos. His father was killed by a rogue Durlan who threatened to kill him when he grew up. And he grew up and then kept killing people with the same knife he was threatened by, for saying that every person he kills was that same Durlan. We don't know if it is, but he keeps trying. So backup was okay. I don't think we need backstories for every single boring ass villain. Tharos is interesting enough when he's going up against the Green Lanterns, but I don't need him as a singular character. I find him very one-dimensional. He just wants more power, and power is what he's going to get.
I think that's the reason why we got this. While that's a trip, your drink was went through the green screen. It's not flickering like your chair was. It was just solid. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. I think that this was a way to show us that Tharos is more than just your typical power hungry bad guy. He's like American Psycho crazy power hungry bad guy.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work out very well for anybody ever. One question that I do have, well, actually a couple of questions. First, I'm blanking on Broom completely.
John Broom.
I'm blanking on John Broom completely.
He did very
Oh, never
early
mind.
GreenLantern
Jiminy
comics.
Christmas.
Yeah, Gil
Oh my
Kane, John
God.
Broom, that era.
It
Yeah.
took a second, but thankfully my comic nerd brain kicked in. All right, second, dude here, Nathan Allen Broom, the girl he's talking about is named Carol. He says it right
Oh,
on the page here. So is this the guy that Carol left to go be with Hal? Because I think so.
I
He
completely
looks
didn't
like
even
it.
catch that. Yeah.
He looks like that guy. And now, okay, so what
Didn't
I'm
even
looking
clue
at this what like I'm trying to see. I can't really hold on 1 second. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do a little something here. I can't. Hold on.
There, give me 1 minute.
Give you 1 minute. All right. See, they're leaving me all alone here. What I wanted to do here is, I'm not going to show you because I would rather you go out and pick up the book, for sure. But well, usually it shows me how many people are out there watching, but I'm not seeing anything right now. So thanks for being here. Sorry, I don't see it. That's kind of odd. Let me bring that up just to see. Right.
Sorry about that.
Nobody's chatting, so I haven't missed anything. That or it's not going to show up because of that. Anyway, sorry if I've been ignoring you. The count's just not there yet. But back to what I was saying, Rob is back just in time. Nathan Allen Broom.
Yes.
Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, it says welcome newlyweds. It has this flowered heart. It's got all these petals all over the place. Definitely some kind of fancy towel arrangement there in the shape of a heart. And he's got a smoking green engagement ring, and it says, "She disappeared in a flash of color, and I was left with nothing but a deep sadness." So she like straight up disappeared right out of her ring.
Yeah.
To go be Star Sapphire with Hal, for Hal. Now he says nothing but sorrow. So I'm assuming this is a lantern that operates on the spectrum of sorrow.
Yeah, that'll be the emotion that powers it, is sorrow.
And I'm really curious by the way that they're able to make the rose dye, what their power set could be. Does it sap the life force out of people? The reason for living?
Here's the thing.
Very, very, very curious about where this is gonna go, because I for one, it's been 6 months since we've seen the stirrings of the beginnings of this of where this is going to go with Kyle and Hal and everybody. I've been saying there's going to be some kind of new kind of core. You and I have both been saying that Kyle is going to turn into some kind of white lantern or rainbow lantern, and that kind of shit is fucking happening. So I'm super duper fucking stoked. And again, I really, truly wonder if Jeremy Adams regularly listens to our podcast, because damn, son.
I'm thinking about it a little more. It's very
looking
much.
at him, I don't see a ring on his finger.
Well, that's what the
but that
smoking
might
on his
be-
hand is.
Yeah,
There is a ring.
and
It's just
a
covered in smoke.
white.
Yeah. So based on the costume, I'm going to say he's a gray lantern. That seems to be the idea here.
That upside down triangle for some reason is like reminding me of the Black Lanterns for some reason. I don't know why.
What upside down triangle?
See his chest symbol?
Yeah, that's a teardrop.
Right. See the teardrop? All right. Now, like I can't remember what you call that. The chevron design? That's what it is.
Oh,
where the triangle goes down. I don't know why, but anyway, it's probably no reason at all. My brain wires are probably getting crossed, but anyway.
Oh, you mean on his suit?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that might just be design. But the idea that I'm getting at, because he's showing off like Gray Lantern. Gray is a mixture. If you look at paints, and I know it's supposed to be like light, but it's a midway point between white and black, which would be life and death.
Dusk.
So I'm curious if the Sorrow Lantern, the Gray Lantern, is a meeting point between life and death. Death causes sorrow, but so can life.
Interesting.
Right? Could be the Sorrow Lantern can take the energy from any other color. I don't know. I don't fucking know. We'll have to see. There's a lot of questions.
I definitely think the creation of the Sorrow Lantern affects the other parts of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Especially Kyle, who's tied to all parts of the spectrum like on a very deep level. It's fucking him all kinds up.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, I know you're a huge Green Lantern fan, but like I haven't been this excited about a Green Lantern story since Blackest Night.
I think 100% for sure Kyle is going to become a White Lantern again. Or at the very least go back to like his weird ass costume when he got all 7 rings at once. Which, hey, Todd McFarlane, I would also love a figure of that. I'll buy a 4th Kyle Rayner. I don't give a shit. Actually, no. 5th Kyle Rayner. If you give me that costume.
And this dude, I mean, all his backstory and power set and everything behind him. I don't give a shit if it's cliche or anything. It's pretty cool that it's the guy that Carol just fucking was looks like just married, but may have like nearly married. But I think just married because it says newlyweds on the thing.
I have to go back and check because I'm pretty sure he had proposed and then they were still like at her house. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And then the violet ring showed up. So like they hadn't even gone to Vegas yet. they just talked about going to Vegas. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember.
I'm pretty sure they were in Vegas.
Whoa, Brendan's back.
Hey,
crap. Scared the shit out of me, dude.
Okay, so they were in Vegas. Were they like at the chapel?
Yeah, they were at the Chapel of Solitude or whatever it was called.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. That was Superman cosplayer.
Yeah, the Superman guy officiating the wedding.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that would explain why he's in Vegas in a hotel room, looking just married on it, and the woman he loves disappeared.
Yeah, so
flash of light.
Disappeared before they got married, and now he's in the hotel room that he already paid for.
Yeah.
Covered in roses and shit.
Well, not anymore. They're dead.
Well, yeah.
He killed them. Anyway, the point is, lots of questions out of this issue, but we do get teases and maybe a couple of answers here and there. Actually, no, I don't think we really got any answers, but we got a lot of teases. They're progressing the story, right? So that's good. We don't want the story to stall. This is fucking masterful of a Green Lantern story. It's this is like a clip show of an issue because you're getting bits of all the major players. We don't know where Carol is, so we didn't get to see her. But every other major player involved in the story is very much getting its own their own like spotlight in this issue, which is fantastic. And even just throwing in Alan at the same time. When it came to Absolute Power tie-in, you had Hal captured by Amanda Waller. That was enough. But they found a place to throw in Alan Scott and have that even tie into the ongoing story. Something's going on with him. He's disappeared. So something's going to fucking happen. I'm happy that Alan Scott is tied to this now. Again, Jeremy Adams is kind of taking this book to the height that I was saying over the past couple of years. Just because a book is titled Green Lantern doesn't mean it needs to be about one Green Lantern. It could be about multiple all the Green Lanterns.
Yep.
Just like a book called The Flash doesn't have to be just about one Flash. It can be about many Flashes, right? Which so far kind of has been. So if you have those legacy and those those characters with the same name, by all means, fucking go for it. Do it. Right? So that's exactly what's happening here, and I love it. Honestly, 9 out of 10. This book got me super fucking excited for what's going to happen.
I mean, just like I said, man, I haven't been this excited since Blackest Night. The way that they did this whole setup with Carol and Hal is just fucking awesome. I like how they did all the different quick pops, the points of view, what everybody's going on and going through. And whatever is going on with Alan Scott being able to continuously maintain his connection to the Starheart when everybody else is not able to hold on to theirs, their power.
Alan Scott?
Serious, yeah.
His power set's separate.
I understand that, but that sets them apart because no other superheroes are able to resist it or maintain their power.
Yet. Oh yeah.
So I think that's fucking sick.
Willpower. It's awesome. That's what makes Green Lantern so cool.
It's
you can take the power, he can take it right back.
It's awesome. It's really cool. I think finding out that Tharos is fucking Patrick Bateman. Or Patrick Bateman, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But American Psycho is definitely something really cool too. I didn't give it a 9, but I did give it an 8.75.
That is Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said Bateman in my head. It went Bates, and then I stumbled a whole bunch. So
Bates. It's an entirely different slasher flick. If that even counts as a slasher flick.
It's more of a suspense, really.
Yeah,
what did you think, Brandon?
I gave it an 8.5. I thought it was a pretty solid issue. I don't know that I have much more to add, but I would definitely be very excited to see if they do end up going down that road of Kyle becoming a White Lantern again.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about that. I think at this point it's downright apparent.
I mean, if he's not becoming a White Lantern, he's becoming something else, something more, perhaps. And all right, so he's got this thing, right, where he has command of all of the emotional spectrums, and with the addition of this new one, that's why he's been huddled in a corner, shaking and shit. It's not because he's afraid; it's sorrow.
I was thinking about that too.
That's like infecting his emotional regularity.
I don't know if it could be that sorrow is affecting him, but I don't know if he's necessarily feeling sorrow.
I mean, that could be. I'm not gonna. I can't. I have no basis on argument, but it's definitely fucking him up somehow. Just that existence of it is messing with his emotional radio.
Yeah. Like, we've heard multiple times from multiple people, more often than not Sinestro, that there is something wrong with the emotional spectrum. That
Yep.
might be the biggest mystery of this entire run so far, is what is going on with the emotional spectrum. We know Theros is collecting power batteries and essentially like owns the emotional spectrum. As we saw in his little brief clip, he has an entire reservoir just to himself of just emotional spectrum energy, and he has pretty much every color. But that doesn't explain what's going on with Sinestro, why he's tapped into the Red Lantern energy instead of yellow, why the Red Lantern energy doesn't explode his heart and make him vomit blood. It doesn't explain
he's not
that
afraid
at all.
of it. Maybe.
But that wasn't the thing.
I don't know.
It doesn't explain what is going on with Kyle. Like, you could go on to the idea, because his becoming a White Lantern had nothing to do with the concept of life or the entity or just a white ring. It had to do with him mastering the emotional spectrum, and it was more so, instead of about emotion and life itself, it was about light. It was about the color. He mastered the emotional spectrum. He became a member of all 7 cores, and through that was able to harness a white light within him and become a master of life. So with that, he definitely has a strong connection to the entire emotional spectrum. He's not just the torchbearer of the greens, he's a torchbearer of the entire spectrum itself. So that connection, I don't imagine, would just go away. But what the effect on him is, it directly causes whatever the fuck is going on, we have no fucking clue.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we've raved enough about our expectations of Green Lantern. Shall we?
Sorry, I could go on, so let's move on.
Me too. It's Kyle, dude, and it's something close to White Lantern time. So
Yep.
So I am down.
I just know this is one of the best Green Lantern runs in a long ass time.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's backtrack a bit and maybe go on to Batman and Robin, number 11. If Brandon can fill us in on that.
Sure. All right. Batman and Robin, number 11, was written by Joshua Williamson with art from Juan Ferreira and letters from Steve Wands. Following a quick opening sequence of Bane becoming the quote-unquote king of Dinosaur Island by killing what looks like a T-Rex, Batman and Robin arrive on Dinosaur Island, having followed the intel they received from Maya, Damien's friend, and the granddaughter of Henri Ducard. As they arrive, they're ambushed by dinosaurs, seemingly fleeing from the island, and are forced to make a rather rough emergency landing. But while they recoup, Damien notices a series of tracks that seem to be from a tank before stopping, as he notices that they're being watched. Maya then reveals herself, and Batman prepares to attack, but Damien states that she's friendly, and Maya and the dynamic duo catch up for a little bit as Maya informs them of what Bane has been up to on the island. Maya takes them to a part of the island where we see Bane stopping a group of Cobra soldiers who are attempting to capture dinosaurs, and Maya basically says that he's mostly here to just chill and protect the island and the dinosaurs. Seeing Bane, however, triggers Robin's PTSD, and he flees the scene before anything goes further, but returns atop a raptor and guns straight for Bane. Batman moves to stop him, but is ambushed by a bunch of dinos. Just when things seem like they can't get any worse, Batman is hoisted into the air by none other than Vengeance, daughter of Bane, who demands that Batman leave her father alone. It seems like it'll be a pretty fun arc. It's picking up some of the threads of where Bane has been since his death, quote unquote death, during Joker War. I guess that was, no, I think it was after Joker War. It was the start of
it was like after whatever it was.
So it'll kind of be dealing with that, which is interesting, but it seems to be mostly just kind of like a self-contained story of them going to Dinosaur Island to deal with Bane, but also kind of maybe resolve some of the character stuff with Alfred and Bane and everything else that we're still dealing with the ramifications of how many years later. So it seems like it'll be fun. Great art. I love seeing Juan Ferreira do more work at DC. So this is very, very nice. But nothing outstanding. Just seems like it'll be fun and enjoyable. So I gave this an 8 out of 10.
I will 100% agree with that. There's nothing like over the top right now. It's really just setup, and so far that's interesting. It's picking up a lot of pieces left behind throughout Bane's adventures over the last few years, and brings Maya back into the fold, which was one of my favorite parts of Tomasi's Batman and Robin. So that's promises to be fun. We'll see. It's hard to say fun in a story about Bane and revenge, but Maya's there, so who knows? So is Goliath, so that helps.
Right.
Vengeance was a nice surprise, so that was a bit of a twist. Vengeance, not the most interesting character, but I think was also one of the more interesting parts of that Joker miniseries. So we'll see where that goes. Adds a layer to Bane. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. The only thing I have is when Batman said we don't know what version of Bane we're going to see or we're going to come up against. And like, I get where he's coming from. There's been different aspects of Bane, like whether he's super roided rage or if he's a little more strategic or if he's more just like, no, I just want to take over the world. Like, there's been different versions of Bane we've seen over the years, as we've seen different versions of every fucking character. It's just really weird to see that talked about in universe. So I had a bit of a struggle to really wrap my head around what that meant. But it was just a one-off line, so I let it go quickly. I enjoyed the story. The art was quite good. I'm giving it an 8.75 out of 10.
Yeah. It's funny you said surprise earlier, and like with Brandon, man, Juan Ferreira his art is just seeing it in a book. Period. There's just plenty good about that. I think it was a really good choice to draw a story called Dinosaur Island as well. Bruce mentions that he packs those anti-venom batarangs for whatever version of Bane that they run into, and I took it just like you eventually led it to. Like at first, the first catch was immediately, wait, they know that was a fake Bane, and then I'm like, oh yeah, well there's venomed out Bane, and then there's like businessman Bane, and there's a number of them in between. So
yeah, is it Tom King's I Am Bane? Is it like just want to destroy everything in a fit of rage Bane? Is it like Luchador Bane? is it
Dark Knight
Rises Bane
you can talk to?
Yeah.
And I honestly complete that Vengeance was with him because I actually honestly completely forgot about Vengeance.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it makes me wonder if it was. This is me giving Williamson a lot of credit here. And it makes me wonder if she wasn't written in such a way that she was kind of forgettable until she became the main character, which is what I'm thinking. She may be on par with Bane in this story arc that Williamson's writing now. So I was definitely surprised for a second when I saw her pop up on the page because, I kind of forgot she was a thing. Altogether, again, the art is amazing and the story plot seems cool. The resolution with Bane, anyway. Williamson sure does like sending Damian on island missions. I still can't stand the dialogue between Bruce and Damian, but the rest was not bad. I will give this a 7 out of 10.
Folks, we did it. This is a first. this is a rare occasion. This might be the only time you will see Josh review a Joshua Williamson book and not completely tear him to pieces.
It's a different kind of story. But let's see where it goes.
Fair enough. Like I was semi curious to see what you could possibly not like about it, because I know it had its problems, but like I'm genuinely surprised that you didn't 100% enjoy it, but I'll say 70% enjoyed it because you gave it a 7 out of 7.
Roughly, that works, right?
Yeah.
I can't get away around the way that he is, and I know that's a thing, but just the way that Damien and Batman talk to each other is just. But
I get the dialogue.
Yeah, around that, there's really nothing too bad for me to complain about. It was a fun little arc, and again, perfect artist for a story like this one.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And with that, let's hope we also enjoy this next book. And I really hope, Josh, that you enjoyed it, because I know you've been kind of excited about it, as have I. And
a little bit.
So, with that, Action Comics number 1067.
Yes, it is written written by Gail Simone, pencils from Eddie Barrows, with inks from Danny Minky. I always put an N in there, damn it. Danny Miki, and colors from Rex Locus and Dave Sharp lettering, with Barrows, Miki, and Tomomori on the cover. So we are in Superman Superstars. We kick it off with Clark, Lois, and Jimmy walking through Metropolis to a youth center and meeting a Mr. Pierce and interviewing him about the youth center closing. And that's when Lois spills the beans that the landlord is behind it for
bonus
some serious.
Sorry, I was going to mention this at the beginning, but bonus points to anyone who can recognize what that first page is an homage to.
The first page of the book?
Yeah. Not the cover, the first page.
Yeah, you got me there, man. It looks kind of like a generic stroll through the city to me, but probably not.
Most people probably didn't even recognize it, but let me just find the panel. But
all right. Well, I'm going to open up Discord because I know he's going to find it soon. That they are, Lois has just let them know that the landlord is being a greedy ass and behind the youth center closing. In addition to that horrible news, we also find out that, horrifically, Jimmy wants to be called Mr. Action now. That's pretty bad. In any case, during the interview, an alien shows up, and then some more, and they aren't very peaceful. Superman finds out that they conquer world's Mortal Kombat style, and it's him versus the worst monster Lovecraft ever thought of in 10 times its size. He has little trouble defeating the giant alien, hilariously named Galalox the Handsome, which he had to do in 1 minute, had to beat him in 1 minute. While the fighting was going on, the Grathians, the evil alien peeps, have suspended a gigantic aircraft carrier half a mile in the air. When Superman wins the fight, they release it, but right over top of Metropolis. Of course, Superman can save the day, but apparently he doesn't quite know how. I'm sure we will find out how he finds out in the next issue. I'm gonna do them back and forth, or back to back, because it's back to back because that's how we've been doing them. So the backup was written by Rainbow Roll. Art from Cian Torme, colors from Romeo Friardo Jr., and letters again from Dave Sharp. This one is called Lois and Clark in Love at Work. First page, and I love the art. First page, and I was a little worried by the title. No reason to be, though. Not any kind of a romance or date issue at all. It's a little bit of Clark reassuring Lois how much of a badass hot girl boss she is and how she needs to run things her way. Atomic Skull starts attacking, which Clark has intervened for and was supposed to be rehabilitated. He disappointingly takes care of Skull and then gets back to the planet to write up the story. The kicker is Lois is running things her way now, like he insisted. And her way says that Clark can't cover Superman stories anymore because it is a clear conflict of interest. And that's not how she wants to run things. And that's the backup first. I honestly enjoyed this just as much as the first story. Tormaya and Fiaro Jr. make the story look real pretty, and it sets the stage for Lois to make some big changes at the Daily Planet, and that could affect some stories in some good ways. It was fun, and Lois's decision to ban Clark from Superman stories was just awesomely Lois. As far as the first one goes, Simone, Barrows, and Miki are definitely superstars here, seriously. Simone's caption boxes feel like a modern take on classic Superman stories. So does his voice in a way throughout the issue, but there's no real horniness to it, which is really good, at least for me. It feels like it's a quick 3-issue arc already from the story, but that's not something that's really been a secret. It's pretty enjoyable, lighthearted, action-packed, easy to read, and fun. I had to give this one an 8.5 out of 10 altogether for the whole issue.
Well, hell yeah. I will... Brandon, do you want to go first?
Sure. I couldn't find the panel I was looking for, but I thought, or at least I somewhat remember this panel being very similar to a panel from Superman versus Muhammad Ali. It looked exactly like it, but I could be misremembering. But the whole design and the kind of 70s look of that, of the panel that Eddie Barrows did of that first page, looked very similar to the whole aesthetic of that book, which makes sense because it came out in the 70s. But as for the actual content of this issue, I wish I could say I loved it, but to be honest, I don't know. I kind of found it boring. I mean, I appreciate that with the last arc that we had, Superman, was it I Bizarro or something like that? You know, obviously it was kind of taking a break from everything that was going on before in Action Comics with Philip Kennedy Johnson. And I could kind of appreciate that. And it felt like, yeah, we're going to do a Bizarro story, but it's unlike any Bizarro story you've read, which I feel like they succeeded in for the most part. And it was fun and enjoyable. And I was kind of hoping for the same thing here, but it just, I don't know, to me, it just felt like a very kind of generic Superman story, and it didn't really offer anything that I found to be exciting. I could appreciate Gail Simone's approach in kind of trying to do a more classic sounding Superman, but it just wasn't enough of an interesting story to really keep me compelled. The art was very good, very impressive from Eddie Barrows, but for me, I was not interested enough in the actual book to really kind of keep myself engaged. So I gave this one a 6 out of 10.
Wow, that's a pretty rough score from Brandon. What did y'all think about the Superman shield?
The shield is very, very Max Fleischer.
Mm-hmm.
Very Max Fleischer. So with that, like just knowing those serials and knowing the art style from the 1940s, and also knowing the main story is very much a 70s aesthetic, I'm a little confuzzled on when exactly this is supposed to take place. But it is very interesting. And I think with this, if this is supposed to be like within continuity and not just like a random story, it could be like this it's kind of solidifying the concept that was set up at the end of Dark Crisis or Death Metal, that like everything in the past happened from the past 80 fucking years, and just the reset the ages. So like this would have actually taken place in the 1970s.
That was the crisis where everything matters.
Yeah. So that it's still really confusing, but like this is very much a 1970s aesthetic, very, very much so. But the S Shield is really throwing it off for me. I like it. It's just really fucking confusing me. But the story was interesting. It was very classic Superman. Almost did feel, even though the dialogue wasn't campy, the story itself was a little campy for me. I didn't love it, but I didn't dislike it. I very much enjoyed it. So it's going to get, I'll say, an 8 out of 10. The art was very good. I do enjoy what Gail Simone is doing here. I just hope for a little bit more. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Modern
like
storytelling.
cohesion with exactly how long ago this is, because it's drawing from like 3 different time periods at the same time. It's very confusing.
I think that the shield itself is just an artist's choice. I think it looks kind of cool.
Could be. It is a cool S shield. The backup might have been my favorite part of this entire issue, because that 100% takes place in modern continuity, so you know exactly when that is. So that didn't confuse me at all. But it also, like, it's Lois and Clark being Lois and Clark, which is exactly what you expect in the title, and it was quite well done. It's giving us a bit more of an aspect of Lois's struggles as editor-in-chief, and that's something I've been craving for, because that's going to be a fucking struggle. And how is she going to balance her personal life and her work life when they're so heavily intertwined? So that's going to be interesting to see. Plus, I love Rainbow Roll.
Yeah, I like the way that they wrote that story. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
right.
Then should we move on?
That's it. That was the last one, wasn't it? Okay. So yeah, let's move on. All right, we're moving on to Outsiders number 9. If Brandon wants to fill us in on that.
Sure thing. Outsiders number 9, written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with art from Robert Carey and colors from Valentina Tadeo. Letters, as always, from Tom Napolitano. And a cover from Roger Cruz and Adriano Lucas. I apologize if the review is a little short, or the summary is a little short. I kind of tried to condense it because it did feel like there was a lot going on. But basically, the remainder of the Outsiders, minus Kate Kane, who was kind of on her own adventure in the last issue, make their way to the jungle, to the lost city of Canon, where they encounter the weapons of order, as well as the Lords of Order, who are guarding sort of this large and deadly device. But the Outsiders, as they're prisoners of the Lords of Order, also find themselves working alongside Tikal and Clarion, the Witch Boy, to kind of fight against the Lords of Order, and basically manage to kind of break their way free. The carrier arrives, and it doesn't say whether or not they manage to take the giant cannon that's kind of housed at the lost city of Canon. I don't remember. Maybe I missed that part, but it doesn't seem like they take it into their possession. But make their way back to the Bleed, where they reunite with Batwoman, who informs them that she also found a gun. And it kind of seems like a weird coincidence, but they kind of reveal that it can't be. It seems like there's something odd, that they both went on adventures and managed to find guns in both of those adventures. And that's when we cut to a panel of the drummer, aka Chiquita Wagner, holding the mysterious cursed gun that Kate found in the last issue. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about this one. I think it was kind of interesting to see them integrating this mythology of the Lords of Order into this whole other corner of the DC universe that, to be honest, I was not very familiar with. Interesting, but something I wasn't really too knowledgeable of. So I think it was interesting to read about, but I can't say I was all that compelled by it. So I don't know. I kind of came away from this one not really as interested by it as I had been in the previous issue, seeing the ghost of Jonah Hex and Ginny and everything. But still thought it was interesting enough. So I ended up giving this issue a 7.5.
All right. Now, the way that I took it, as far as the big gun goes, they're talking about them both finding a gun. Kate says that the carrier was able to lock hers up, and then Batwing says she's integrated ours into her systems for safekeeping. So I'm assuming that somehow the ship's gobbled the cannon itself up.
Yeah, there you go.
The city of Canon, the way that everything here was described, all of that, I think that this is going to directly tie into the Absolute line of comics. I think that the way that they were talking about Canon in its two different forms was a big clue to that. I also found out that I am Lord of the Kali Yuga. It's only the story that matters. I don't know how many times I've said that. Comics, wrestling. Clarion, the Order of Chaos, wants to do away with continuity. Clearly, that makes me the good guy. The gun that's made by actions rather than by a person. The gun that would wipe everything out of everything. Burning the books of all history. I mean, I dig that. I get it. Two guns, two versions of Canon, stripping the two lords of their biggest weapons, all very cool. Drummer grabbing the hex gun, not quite so cool. Drummer, not quite so cool. I'm still really enjoying the ride that this title has been taking us on since issue 1. The art is great, right up my alley, and the story's been hitting way more than it has missed. My biggest complaint was that the narration was a little dense, but it didn't bother me too much because it was just kind of flowed through the story and dialogue rather than standing apart from it. I gave this an 8 out of 10.
So I had a different take on the guns. Sorry, so you have the giant city of Canon, and Canon there is a gun that is made to destroy. It will destroy universes, it will destroy multiverses, it'll destroy the stories, right? And you have the gun from Ginny Hex, doesn't really destroy, even though it kills a person, it keeps that spirit alive, so it doesn't let something be destroyed. So it's a yin and yang thing yet again. You have one gun that destroys and one gun that refuses to destroy.
Interesting.
See?
One gun that destroys everything, one gun that destroys nothing.
And one gun to rule them all.
The Lord of the Guns. So it's again, it could be a whole thing of order and chaos, but it's very much also life and death, destruction and non-destruction, yin and yang. It's balance, and I think that's where this is going to end up. It's trying to find the balance. I'm suspecting that, like, and I really hope I'm wrong, but like they're building this up to a lot, and I have a feeling by the end of it all, it's not going to amount to much. It's just going to end up being that we need to find the balance between life and death. We need to find the balance between order and chaos. We need to find the balance between destruction and life. And that's what it's going to amount to. And all these hints and teases are not really going to amount to anything by the end of this series, potentially even just lead into something else. But I don't think it's going to be anything massive and universe shaking, which I really hope I'm wrong, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. But this issue was quite interesting, bringing in a lot of stuff with Clarion and Order and Chaos and Nabu. It was really cool. I think this is going to 12 issues?
12 or 11, I can't remember exactly.
Or 11, yeah.
I think it's 11.
Okay, so we only have a couple left. We're gonna have to see where it goes. There's not much left in terms of issue counts, but it feels like there's so much more story left.
I think it's segueing into the new continuity.
We'll definitely see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. That it'll have meaning, because it's been a hell of a story so far. This issue alone, I'm going to give an 8.5 out of 10.
Groovy, man.
So, if it is leading into Absolute Comics, potentially gives it absolute power, if you will.
It definitely does.
All right, this is Absolute Power Task Force VII, number 1 of 7. This is written by Leah Williams, with art from Caitlin Yarsky, colors from Alex Guimares, letters from Dave Sharp, and the cover you see before you from Pete Woods. So we pick up where...
Pretty fucking sick cover.
It is a really sick cover.
I don't know who Pete Woods is, but Pete Woods.
Yeah, that might be the best look at Last Son we will ever see. Last Son being the name of the Amazo based on Superman. So we see in it's not named, but it's going to be the compound where Amanda Waller is housing all the heroes. She's walking through the encampment with the Last Son android and comes across Parasite, who has been captured. Instructs Last Son to absorb as much as it can from Parasite, taking off the power shackle that she has strapped to Parasite, which takes away his hunger, which she's going to use that as a base, like a push to go with Last Son and head to the Rock of Eternity to be his extra power source, which right away I'm going to say is kind of dumb, because Parasite, when he's hungry, is a very dangerous predator. And his man is starving. So we then end up at the Rock of Eternity, where Last Son and Parasite have gone to, because they need to finish off the Shazam kids. And inside the Rock of Eternity, in the Chamber of Souvenirs specifically, we see Mr. Dinosaur finally finishing his job of cataloging every piece of magical equipment and souvenir ever found by the Shazamly. And just as he finishes and is able to take a look upon his immense work, he hears a crash and finds Billy and Mary trying to get a sword so they can take the fight to Amanda Waller and get their powers back. But Billy messes up, crashing down an entire shelf full of magical items, injures himself, which prompts Mr. Dinosaur to say, not only do you have to fill out all these forms for damaging all this property, but now you got to fill out an OSHA form for injuring yourself in the workplace. Which, god damn it, that ain't fucking relatable. I don't know what is. So Mary then recounts everything that's going on to Mr. Dinosaur about how they were attacked by Amazo androids. The powers were sapped, and they headed straight here to see what they could do to fight back and get the energy they need with the energy they have left. This is when Last Son attacks, and Parasite is there as well. So Mr. Dinosaur tells the kids to run as the Last Son saps the last bit of energy it can from Parasite and just heat visions the hell out of Mr. Dinosaur. And just when all seems lost, Last Son is tracking the kids, but finds Black Adam instead, who announces himself to be a protector of the Rock of Eternity, as it is tied directly into his own powers. They have a big battle back and forth, but the Last Son gets the upper hand, is able to grab a hold of Black Adam's ankle after he gets a little bit too cocky with himself and saps his own power. Then heads straight for the kids, grabs Billy by the throat. Mary's able to get the upper hand by shoving a whole bunch of oh my god, what the fuck are they called? Oh my god. Metal drawer thingies. Filing cabinets. Jesus.
Thank you.
Holy shit. Why couldn't I think of that word? Right onto the Amazo android, onto the Last Son, as Billy shouts out Shazam. But then we see one last transmission from the Last Sun saying that mission is a success. Prepare 3 cells for new occupants. We then do see later on at in the island of Gamora at Amanda Waller's prison base, we see Billy, Mary, and Black Adam have all been captured as Colonel Steve Trevor has arrived. He has been basically conscripted into service by none other than Sarge Steele, who asked for him specifically to work for him and the Bureau of Sovereignty to help take out the heroes. And as we finish off, we get a little text box from within Steve Trevor's mind saying, "The hell I do work for you." Next, Atlantis' new ruler is going to be an issue devoted to Aquaman Android. So, that's our first look into the greater universe of Absolute Power. 7 issues, 7 characters, 7 Amazo androids. Each issue is going to be focusing on a different Amazo specifically.
It would appear so.
But who's the 7th? Because there's going to be only 6 Amazos. The 7th theoretically could be Failsafe.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As we also found out from the Batman tie-in, each Amazo, we do know for sure now, has a Zur-Anar from the multiverse attached to it. The Wonder Woman Amazo very much seems to be the Gotham by Gaslight Zur-Anar, and this one feels very much like 1960s campy Adam West Zur-Anar, based off some of the dialogue. So there's some notes there if y'all are keeping track of which Zur-Anar ended up in which Amazo. There also seems to be a bit of back and forth and a bit of a power struggle between what would be a very heroic Zur-Anar also dealing with this Amazo programming taking over the mind. So there's some interesting stuff to be found there. We'll see what happens. The art I thought was quite good. The story could have been a bit more of a work, but it was also written by the person doing the Shazam book right now. So trying to tie it into the ongoing story of Shazam while also tying it into Absolute Power, and the timeline's a little mucky. So it's back and forth. It was okay. The story was okay, but the art was quite good. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
All right. I mean, so it was a mission to get the Shazam powers. I saw rumors that a major DC villain was getting killed in this issue, but I don't see anything in here unless they are way overblowing Black Adam.
I mean, Black Adam is very much alive at the end. Maybe they talk about Parasite, but I don't think he died either.
I don't think so. Steve Trevor is an undercover agent all alone, and Atlantis has somebody new in charge. That's the issue. It wasn't horrible. The art's enjoyable. The story honestly just isn't quite there pulling me in yet. I don't know if it's because it's in. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm still not quite there, but I don't hate it. It's better than average, and I will give it a 7 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10. Really great art, and I think there were some interesting ideas in kind of how the Amazos were glitching, I guess you could say, given that they'd taken in all these powers, but they couldn't quite handle the consciousness or personality that came along with those powers. So I wonder if that's something. Yeah, but I wonder if that's something that will be explored in future issues, because that could be potentially a weakness that the heroes could exploit. But no, aside from that, it was mostly just, the Amazo shows up, tries to take down Billy and Mary, gets stopped by Black Adam, but manages to beat him and then captures Billy and Mary. So not really too much going on in the long run. Some entertaining character moments, but, kind of an average story. So solid with some interesting ideas, but nothing too exceptional. So 7.5 for me.
Hell yeah. Looking back at it again, maybe Parasite did die. Be a very unceremonious death for Parasite, but Like, I'm looking again, the last thing the Last Son says to Parasite is, I see you're in pain now, and I shall reward you by ending it. And then he gets sapped even more. And then the next time we see Parasite, he's passed out on the floor, but his eyes are just caved in and black. Like, there's no life left.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I guess Supercorp is completely all messed up then. Because that's where they would have had to get him from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even including Parasite in this was an interesting choice.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see. Yeah.
That's the books.
That's it.
That's it.
That's our books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now what?
I don't know.
All right, fine. Top 3.
Yeah. Let's do it. Top 3 favorite moment if you had one. Who wants to go first?
I'll knock that out. I have top 3 in number 3, Outsiders. Number 2, Action Comics. And number 1 is Green Lantern. Art-wise, that splash page of Superman landing at the youth center, that looked so good. But I think my favorite is going to be the panel where Lois says, "Let's talk in my office," and you just know that Clark is in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
That there was nothing leading up to that led you to believe that was going to happen, and something about the way that was drawn and lettered just. And I felt it. I felt it right immediately with Clark. Oh, he's in trouble.
Yep.
Maybe that's because I'm married. I don't know. I know what that look. I know what that look means.
Oh, I get that. All right, Brandon. What about you?
For number 3, I had the From the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives, number 1. Number 2, I had Green Lantern, number 2. But number 1, I had to give to Batman and Robin, number 11, which, again, while not being exceptional or anything, was definitely just, it felt like a fun start to what could be a really nice self-contained arc. It's only, 3 issues or so. But favorite moment, or I guess favorite panel, really, is, and I don't remember exactly whether it was a full page spread or just a panel, but the image of Kyle with like all the different colors all over his costume.
Yeah,
it's just a really really cool looking image, and definitely very well done by Fernando Broussard.
Rainbow Tequila and Chimichangas.
That was going to be mine. Damn
it. You know what? I think we could all share one if we wanted to.
That's fair. But I do have a backup. So for me, number 3 is Sinister Sons. Number 6. Number 2 is Batman and Robin, number 11. And number 1's got to go to Green Lantern, number 13. Easily excited me the most out of every book this issue. Favorite moment for me, apart from seeing Kyle all rainbowed up, would honestly be seeing this new lantern show up, this Sorrow Gray Lantern. Because finally we're getting a new lantern color that doesn't feel forced. Between gold and ultraviolets, it's been a rough time for new lantern colors, but we got one that just so far seems to kind of fit right now. So we're going to see what happens with that.
Connected in a lot of ways that make sense and work. And damn, the costume is cool.
It is. It really is. It raises a lot of questions, and none of them are why. So,
and that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So that's good. All right. So that is that. I believe that will be our show.
That is that, and that is it.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts, opinions, feelings?
I feel like I want some ice cream.
You should get some ice cream.
I'm gonna as soon as we get done with this.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure, go ahead.
Ben and Jerry's The Tonight Dough. That is my go-to every time.
That's good ice cream. That's good
It
ice
is.
cream.
And it's got Jimmy Fallon on it. Can't go wrong.
I like the Colbert one.
Oh,
That-
what was
that
it
one's-
called?
That's the
Shit.
Americone Dream.
Yeah, American Dream, yeah. I remember the episode of Colbert Report where he announced that. He was so happy.
Oh yeah, for sure. He still pushes it occasionally on his
Yeah.
show. But all right, thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back next week covering all of DC's weekly releases, same geek time, same geek channel, and that is the show. We're getting out of here, so you'll have to as well. Be careful out there, and remember, in the Geek Matrix, everybody has a home. In the Geek Matrix, you are not alone.